for custom streaming service right now.
Uh,
Okay, and I think it is starting to broadcast. It has started to broadcast. Now you can go and,
Yeah.
okay. And Parsha, you have to tell us this. And at 7 o'clock promptly, I'll stop sharing my screen. Uh,
Mhm.
and Barsha, what do you see there? And
Right now, I see Sita, Ram, and Lakshman in the forest,
perfect,
and
perfect.
you have a small thing.
Okay, now if I move, okay, now just test it out for me here. That where am I on the PowerPoint presentation? Is it covering Ram now? Something is covering Ram?
No,
Okay, on Facebook, no?
no.
Okay, perfect, perfect. This is good. Hare Krishna, Gandharvika Mataji, Danvat Pranam, Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Gandharika Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, so I'm trying to move my mouse. Just bear with me. It's hanging up on me. So I'm going to stop. I'm not going to not allow participants to unmute themselves. And when they join, they will be muted on join so that Venugita Mataji can do the reading in peace here. And I won't be monitoring the Zoom chat either today. And let's see what time it is.
It's 7.
It's 7 o'clock prompt. Okay. So Hare Krishna, welcome dear devotees. We have Venu Gita Mataji here who is going to read to us from the Ramayana. Gita, you have Venu Gita Mataji, you have the number from yesterday?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay,
I do.
perfect, perfect. So just please.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees. Om नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रतिशाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तविंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are reading from Ramayana, page number 396, paragraph number 2. At this, Ravana laughed, saying, "What you say is true. Mahodra must truly be afraid of Ram. O Kumbhakarna, no one can stand before you when you enter the battlefield, consumed with rage. Now please go and fight, putting an end to our anxieties. But do not go alone. Surround yourself with an army of Rakshasa so you can become even more invincible." Ravana's spirit lifted as he considers the prowess of his younger brother. As Kumbhakarna picked up the deadly dart and prepared to depart, Ravana placed a golden necklace and garlands around his neck and decorated him with other ornaments. Then Kumbhakarna put on a suit of impen- impenetrable golden armor. After he circumambulated Ravana and bowed down before him, his elder brother embraced and blessed him. At, as he approached the battlefield, Kumbhakarna expanded his body to 600 bow lengths in height and 100 bow lengths in width. Even though he was determined to kill Ram and Lakshman and devour the entire monkey army, he soon began to notice many fearful omens. Meteoroids streaked across the sky, and she jackals howled ominously. Kumbhakarna's left eye began to twitch, and his left arm throbbed. Then a vulture alighted upon the spear Kumbhakarna carried. But under the sway of destiny, the puffed of Kumbhakarna did not heed these inauspicious warnings. As Kumbhakarna stepped over the defensive wall and entered the battlefield, the monkeys panicked, running away in fear. However, Angada managed to rally the army, and when the monkeys returned, they showered Kumbhakarna with countless trees and mountain peaks. Regardless, the missiles simply broke to pieces upon striking the gigantic Rakshasa's body. In retaliation, Kumbhakarna began to slaughter multitudes of monkeys. The monkeys again panicked. In the stampede, that followed, some fell from the cliff into the ocean, while others kept their eyes closed in fear. Angad then rallied the army, saying, "It is better to die gloriously in battle than to flee in hope of finding a life of ease. Such cowards have to pass the duration of their life being ridiculed by their relatives. Indeed, such insults give more pain than death." Still, the monkeys and their commanders continue to flee, for they consider their lives to be very dear. Finally, when Angad assured them that Ram would kill the giant, they gradually returned to the battlefield. Soon the monkey rushed at Kumkarna, and the gigantic Rakshasa struck down 8,700 of them, swinging his club on all sides. Then, taking as much as 30 monkeys at a time in his arms, Kumkarna stuffed into his cavernous mouth. Devida then threw a huge rock at Kumkarna. When the rock missed his mark, it landed upon the Rakshasa's arm, smashing many of the soldiers. From the sky, Hanuman tried to shower mountain peaks upon Kumkarna, but the colossal Rakshasa easily tore them to pieces with his hands. Then, when Kumkarna took up the spear and rushed at the monkeys, Hanuman stood in his path and hurled a great mountain peak at him. Kumkarna avoided the blow, however, and when he threw his spear in retaliation, it pierced Hanuman's chest, causing him to vomit blood and cry out in pain. While the Rakshasa rejoiced upon seeing Hanuman's plight, the monkey fearfully scattered in all directions. However, Neil quickly rallied the retreating warriors, then hurled a mountain peak at Kumkarna, which is easily broken to pieces with his fist. Rishabh, Sarb, Neel, Gavask, and Gadamand then pounced upon Kumkarna all at once, but the giant Rakshasa felt their powerful blows to be served as loving caresses. Kumkarna caught hold of Rishabh and, after squeezing him in his hand, threw him down unconscious on the ground. The Rakshasa then struck the other four monkeys, heroes, making them all fall down in swoon. At this, the other monkeys became enraged, and thousands of them attacked Kumkarna at once, climbing all over his body as if it were a mountain. As the monkeys tried to bite him with their long, sharp teeth, Kumkarna grabbed them in his arm and stuffed them into his gasping mouth. In this way, Kumkarna raged over the battlefield and devoured innumerable monkeys, although some managed to escape through his nostrils and ears after entering his mouth. As the monkey soldiers ran to the shelter of Rama's lotus feet, Angad suddenly rushed at Kumkarna, flinging a mountain peak at his head. This only served to enrage the giant Rakshasa further, who then rushed at Angad and hurled his spear. Angad jumped to dodge the spear and slapped Kumkarna in the chest, making him fall to the ground unconscious. Kumkarna quickly got up, however, and hit Angad with the back of his hand, causing him to fall down in a daze. Kumkarna then picked up his spear and rushed to Sugriv, who quickly took up a mountain peak to oppose him. But when Sugriv hurled the giant mass of rock at Kumkarna's chest, he merely scattered into millions of pieces. The Rakshasa shouted with joy, while the monkeys grew despondent. Kumkarna violently hurled his spear at Sugriv, roaring tumultuously. Hanuman, however, had been carefully watching the duel, and upon seeing Sugriv's plight, suddenly leaped up and caught the spear in mid-air, breaking it in half over his knee. The monkeys roared with delight upon seeing this extraordinary feat, leaving Kumkarna disheartened. Then, after breaking off a mountain peak with great agitation, Kumkarna hurled it impetuously at Sugriv. When the monkey king fell unconscious from the blow, Kumkarna picked him up and tucked him under his arm, carrying him back to Lanka. Seeing this, Hanuman thought, if Sugriv is taken prisoner, our cause is lost. Therefore, I shall explain myself to become I shall expand myself to become as huge as a mountain and then kill Kumbhakarna. The next moment, however, Hanuman reconsidered. Surely Sugriv will come soon con- regain consciousness and somehow free himself. If it appears that the king has to be saved by someone else, he will become humiliated and disheartened. Kumbhakarna entered Lanka with Sugriv held captive, while the rejoicing citizens showered unbroken grains and scented water upon their victorious hero. These offerings, however, helped to revive Sugriv. Thus, after getting his bearings, the Monkey King began to fight back. Sugriv first tore off Kumbhakarna's earlobes with his sharp nails. Then he bit off the Rakshasa's nose and split his sides open with the claws of the toes. Sharply pained, Kumbhakarna angrily threw down Sugriv and began beating him. However, Sugriv quickly bounded into the air and returned to Rama's side within an instant. Feeling famished, the enraged Kumbhakarna picked up a huge hammer and re-entered the enemy ranks to devour the monkeys, taking handful of monkeys and Rakshasa alike. Kumbhakarna stuffed them into his mouth, and streams of blood and fat poured out from the corners of. Although the panic-stricken monkeys tried to take shelter of Ram, Kumbhakarna ran here and there, encircling, encircling circling hundreds at a time in his outstretched arms. Lakshman then came to attack Kumbhakarna with showers of arrows, but the Rakshasa deflated them all. Seeing this, the enraged Lakshman proceeded to cover his armor with more arrows. Kumbhakarna disdainfully said, I wish to fight with Ram, not his younger brother. In response, Lakshmana pointed to Ram. Kumbhakarna then passed Lakshmana by, heading towards Rama. When the giant rushed to him, Ram quickly released a Rudra weapon. As it disappeared into his chest, Kumbhakarna began to stagger, dropping his club and scattering his other weapons here and there. The unarmed Kumbhakarna then drove off with his fist the monkey who hoped to take advantage of the setback. Then he seized a mountain peak and rushed towards Ram. Ram quickly tore the mass of rocks into small pieces with 7 arrows, and the falling derbies knocked down more than 200 monkeys. Lakshman then told Ram, Kumbhakarna is so intoxicated from drinking blood that he devours monkey and Rakshasa alike, without discriminating between them. If thousands of monkeys were to suddenly climb over Kumbhakarna's body, thus weighing weighing him down, this Rakshasa could easily be defeated. Then innumerable monkeys began to crawl all over Kumbhakarna's body. The giant tried shaking the monkeys loose from his body as he continued maneuvering about, looking for monkeys to devour. Rama took the opportunity to rush forward. With his bowstring stretched as to his ear, Ram challenged, O worst of the Rakshasa, please stand before me for a moment while my arrows dispatch you to the abode of Yamraja. Looking up, Kumbhakarna was overjoyed to see Ram before him. Laughing gleefully, he said, What good fortune! Since you have so kindly given me this opportunity, I shall devour you at once. Ram then showered torrent of arrows, but without being disturbed, Kumbhakarna picked up a terrible mace, hoping to slay his enemy without delay. In response, Ram evoked a powerful Vayu weapon, serving the giant's right arm, which held his giant club. Kumbhakarna screamed out in agony as his colossal arm fell to the ground, crushing an entire division of monkey soldiers. Mad with rage, Kumbhakarna tore up a huge tree with his left arm and rushed towards Ram. However, by invoking a mighty Anindra weapon, Ram served the giant's remaining arm. As the huge arm tumbled to the ground, numerous monkeys and Rakshasa were crushed. Even though bereft of both hands, Kumbhakarna continued to rush towards Ram, making a terrible roaring sound. Then, with two arrows, Ram cut off the Rakshasa's feet. Still, Kumbhakarna opened his horrible mouth and hobbled frantically towards Ram, hoping to devour him. As Kumbhakarna steadily approached at, Rama filled with gasping mouth with so much arrows that the huge Rakshasa began to gasp for breath. Finally, Kumbhakarna began to topple, losing consciousness from extreme pain. Ram then discharged another Anindra weapon that stick towards the sky, illuminating all directions, and tore off Kumbhakarna's head. Kumbhakarna's gigantic head crashed into the sea, crushing to death huge fishes and alligators. His head, stinging like the full moon, landed on the king's highway in Lanka, demolished big palaces and huge sections of the defensive wall and gates. From the sky, the demigods gave ecstatic shouts of joy, and the monkeys began talking to Rama's victory as though they each had five mouths. As Kumbhakarna relatives cried in grief, Ram experienced transcendental bliss in accomplishing this heroic feat. Ravan was informed that Kumbhakarna's severed head was blocking the city gate, and his huge body was half submerged in the ocean. This was too much for Ravan, who simply fainted away. Upon regaining consciousness, he moaned, "Without Kumbhakarna, I will not be able to go on living, for life has no more meaning. What a mistake I have made by not listening to Vibhishna." One of Ravan's sons, named Trishira, said, "Father, do not lament. I have immense powers, prowess, and weapons awarded by Lord Brahma. My brothers Devantka, Nartaka, and Atikai are also expert in conjuring tricks and can fight while flying in the sky. We shall all go together and kill Ram, Lakshman, and the monkey warriors. Please give up your despair." Raman became enlivened by Trishra's assurance. After decorating his four sons with ornaments and garlands, the Rakshasa king sent them out to fight, along with Mahaprashva and Mahodra. The six powerful warriors headed to the battlefield, followed by an enormous army of Rakshasas. Thus, the fighting began as both sides roared impetuously. Before long, the battlefield became difficult to traverse because of the piles of dead bodies, severed limbs, broken chariot, and scattered mountain peaks and carried strew about. Monkeys that were previously struck down by Kumbhakarna re-entered the fight, feeling refreshed, and at first seemed to gain the upper hand. Then, riding in horseback, Narantaka slaughtered 700 monkey soldiers with his spear. Sugriv ordered Angad to attack the son of Raman. The unarmed Angad thus approached Narantak, challenging, "Why are you wasting your time fighting with common monkeys? Throw your spear at my chest if you consider yourself to be great hero." Bringing his lip in rage, biting his lip in rage, Narantak suddenly hurled his spear. However, when he struck Angad, it broke into fragments and fell to the ground. Angad darted towards and smashed his fit on the head of Narantak's horse. The horse fell dead with a fractured skull. With the infuriated Nartaka jumped on the Narantak jumped on the ground, retaliating by smashing Angad's skull with his fist. As blood poured from his wound, Angad reeled back, but quickly came to his sense. Again rushing towards with his fist clenched, Angad brought it down with full force upon his adversary. The mighty blow crushed Narantak's entire chest, making him fell dead upon the battlefield. Ram was both pleased and astonished to witness Angad's heroic feat, but Mahodra could not tolerate the death of his nephews. He angrily rushed to Angad along with Devantak. and Trishra. When he saw the three Rakshas approaching, Angad tore up a giant tree, hurling at the Devantak. Trishra easily cut the tree to pieces with his arrows. Angad continued to shower trees and rocks, but to no avail. Mahodra then approached Angad while riding upon his elephant and struck him in the chest with the spiked club. Angad, however, was not even slightly disturbed by the blow and violently struck the elephant with his hand. When the gigantic beast fell down dead, Angad tore out one of the tusks and hurled at Deva, Devantak, wounding him severely. However, Devantak quickly recovered and struck Angad with his club, making the prince fall to his knees. Even though Angad sprang to his feet, Trishak Trishra struck him in the forehead with three arrows. Hanuman and Neel rushed to the prince's aid. Neel hurled a mountain peak at Trishra, and as the three-headed Rakshasa smashed it to pieces, Devantak rushed to Hanuman with his club held high. Hanuman leaped into the air to avoid Devantak's blow, simultaneously striking the Rakshasa on the head with his clenched fist. With his skull completely smashed in, Devantak fell down dead on the battlefield. Meanwhile, as Trishra released torrent of arrows at Neel, Mahodra mounted another elephant and rejoined the fray. As all of his limbs became pierced, Neel momentarily lost consciousness. Upon recovering, Neel took up a mountain peak, sprung in the air, and smashed it upon Mahodra's head. As Mahodra fell down, Trishra became mad with rage and began bearing Hanuman with streams of arrows. Hanuman retaliated with a mountain peak, but Trishra easily smashed it to pieces. Next, Hanuman released a continuous shower of trees, but the three-headed Rakshasa tore them all to pieces too. Hanuman became frustrated and angrily jumped on the Trishra's horse and began tearing at its hide with the sharp nails. Trishra tried to pierce Hanuman's with his spear, but the monkey hero grabbed it out of his hands and broke it in half. Trishra then quickly drew his sword and slashed Hanuman's across the chest. But in spite of being wounded, Hanuman slapped the Rakshasa in the chest, making him fall off his horse, dazed. Hanuman then jumped down from the horse and picked up the Rakshasa's sword that he had taken from his hand and began roaring loudly. That was intolerable for Trishra, and he quickly jumped up and punched Hanuman in the chest. Hanuman flared with rage. Then, grabbing Trishra's by one of his neck, he served all three of the Rakshasas' head one after the another. The monkey began roaring triumphantly. However, Mahaprashva angrily took up his iron club and began to drive the monkeys from the battlefield. Rishabh then came to challenge Mahaprashar, but the Rakshasa immediately struck him in the chest with his club, throwing him to the ground unconscious. When Rishabh again regained his senses, he again rushed to Mahaprashav, striking him severely in the chest with his fist. Mahaprashav collapsed to the ground, bathed in his own blood, and as he struggled to recover his strength, Rishabh took away his spike iron club. But before the monkey chief could attack, Mahaprasha got up and punched him, making him fall down in a daze. Rishabh quickly recovered and again picked up the iron club, smashing it against Mahaprasha's chest. Blood gushed out of his own, but still the Rakshasa attempted to take the club from Rishabh's hand. Before he could retake the club, the monkey chief smashed him over the head with it, causing the Rakshasa to fall down dead, his eyes and teeth completely crushed in. As the Rakshasa army began to flee in the fear, the giant Rakshas Atikaya attacked the monkeys from his chariot. Seeing Atikaya's colossal size, they thought that Kumbhakarna had come back to life and fearfully ran for the shelter of Ram. Ram was also amazed to see the gigantic Rakshas and thus inquired about him from Vibhishan. Vibhishana explained, this monstrous Rakshas named Atikaya, a son of Ravan and Dhanyamalini, by performing severe austerity, he satisfied Lord Brahma, thus receiving benedictions, granting him immunity from the death at the hands of demigods and demons. Lord Brahma also awarded Atikaya weapons, armor, and a chariot. He thus became extraordinarily powerful. O Ram, in previous battle, Atikaya was able to counteract the thunderbolt of Indra and the noose of Varuna. You should kill him at once before he eliminates the entire army of monkeys. While Bibhishan was speaking, many of the monkeys' leader attacked Atikaya, but the huge Rakshasa tore to pieces all of the trees and mountains peak that they hurled at him. As he began shooting the monkeys with his arrows, Atikaya appeared to be unconquerable, although he would not fight with any monkey that was not willing. Leaving the monkeys aside, Atikaya rushed at as Ram, challenging him with insulting words. This enraged Lakshman, who took up his bow and rushed at the Rakshas. Although Atikaya was astonished to hear the twanging of Lakshmana's bow, he took his own arrow and said, you are merely a youngster and should leave the battlefield while you are still able to do so. Why do you foolishly stand before me, acting as if you want to give up your life? Lakshmana's anger flared even more after hearing his haughty words, and he replied with a similar challenge. As Atikaya placed an arrow on his bowstring, the demigods appeared overhead, anxious to see the upcoming duel. Atikaya released his arrow, and Lakshmana split in half with his own, prompting the irritated Rakshasa to quickly send 5 more. Lakshman again cut them off and responded with a powerful arrow that pierced Atikaya's forehead, causing him to tumble violently. After recovering himself, Atikaya praised Lakshman as a worthy opponent and then released a deluge of arrows. Lakshmana continued to foil Atikaya's arrow, causing the enraged Rakshasa to, to shoot an especially powerful arrow that entered Lakshmana's chest. Although bleeding profusely, Lakshmana took out an arrow and empowered it with his mystic mantra with the fire god from the fire god Agni. When Lakshmana released the arrow, Atikaya employed a Surya weapon to counteract it. The two arrows collided in the sky, reducing each other to ashes and falling to the ground. Atikaya then released a Twasta weapon, and Lakshman counteracted with an Anindriya weapon. Atikaya then discharged a Yama weapon, and Lakshmana neutralized it with a Vayu weapon. Lakshman then released a steady stream of arrows, but they simply bounced off Atikaya's armor and fell to the ground. Lakshman shot 1,000 more arrows, but the undisturbed Atikaya was able to pierce him with a single shaft in the chest, causing him to fall unconscious. When Lakshman recovered, he was able to knock down Atikaya's flag and then kill his horse and charioteer. However, despite releasing his most powerful arrows, Lakshman could not even slightly wound the Rakshasa. At this time, Vayu approached Lakshman, saying, the armor Atikaya wears was formerly given to him by Lord Brahma and is impenetrable. Therefore, you should employ your Brahmastra to vanquish your enemy. Lakshman fitted his ultimate weapon onto his bowstring and fired it at Atikaya. The Rakshas shot many arrows to counterattack the Brahmastra. When he saw that the weapons remained unimpeded, he began to hurl spears, clubs, and axes, but to no avail. Indeed, the Brahmas quickly knocked off Atikaya's enormous head. As the served head rolled on the ground, the dejected Rakshasa rushed back to the shelter of Lanka, while the monkeys ran to congratulate Lakshman. Upon hearing the news of Atikaya's death, Ravan became deeply depressed. Feeling the situation hopeless, he groaned. Ram and Lakshman are inconceivably powerful. With their astonishing prowess, they have already slain the best of my warriors. I can now understand that Ram is Lord Narayan himself, appearing in a human form. Although I had previously been informed of this fact, I consider it to be merely the ravings of crowds and fanatics. Who can possibly defeat Ram? Turning to his minister, Ravan said, make certain that the city's gate are heavily guarded. Increase the security around the Ashoka Grove. I want everyone to remain on full alert to watch the enemy's movement. Seeing his father with tears in his eyes and overwhelmed by the grief and lamentation, Indrajit spoke up. As long as I am alive, there is no reason for you to grieve in this way. My dear father, I promise you that I will kill Ram and Lakshman this very day. With the blessings of his father, Indrajit went on his sacrificial altar. He then took a living goat by the neck and threw it in the sacrificial fire as an offering. At once, the fire flared up brilliantly, forecasting victory for Ravana's pet son. Then Agni himself came out of the flames and accepted the offering. Thereafter, Indrajit invoked the mantras that enabled himself, his donkey drawn chariot, and all his paraphernalia to become invisible. After dispatching his army to attack the enemy, Indrajit took an invincible position in the sky and began raining down his arrows upon the monkey soldiers. The monkeys attempt to retaliate by hurling numerous trees and rocks at the point where they thought the arrows had originated. But the Rakshasa defeated all the missiles while continuing to cut down as many as 9 monkeys in a single arrow. Indrajit then invoked the Brahmastra, causing heaven and earth to tremble. That supreme weapon produced countless arrows, which knocked all the monkey warriors in the ground. Millions fell dead instantly. The invisible Indrajit continued to shower down spears, swords, and axes. The bewildered monkeys could see the weapons as they fell from the sky, but were unable to sight their assailant. Even Hanuman, Sigriv, Neel, and Jamban fell to the ground wounded, and Ram and Lakshman appeared to be eclipsed by Indrajit's weapon. Sorry, Ram and Lakshman appeared to be eclipsed by Indrajit's weapons. Although covered by arrows, Ram remained undisturbed, saying, O Lakshman, I can understand that Indrajit is releasing arrows surcharged with the power of Lord Brahma. As long as the powerful Rakshasa remain invisible, no one will be able to conquer him. Therefore, it is best if we let ourselves be overcome by his arrows. When Indrajit sees that we have fallen unconscious, he will surely consider himself victorious and return to Lanka to inform Ravan. Ram and Lakshman became seriously wounded by Indrajit's arrows and fell down unconscious on the ground. Seeing his enemies vanquished, Indrajit exulted with joy and returned to Lanka to tell his father. The, re- the surviving monkeys became exceedingly depressed to see Ram and Lakshman's condition. Vibhishan assured them, O great heroes, do not lament, for Ram and Lakshman have voluntarily put themselves in this helpless condition just to honor the weapon of Lord Brahma. Very soon they will rise up and vanquish the enemy. Hanuman then offered his respect to the Brahmastra and said, the fighting has subsided and night has fallen. Therefore, our first business should be to restore the remaining monkeys to confidence. Hanuman and Vibhishan then took up torch and began to wander over the battlefield. There they saw Sugriv, Angad, Neel, and Nal, and some 6 million monkeys lying on the ground, all struck down by the Indrajit Brahmastra. They found Jamvan severely wounded and unable to see. Jamvan inquired, is Hanuman still alive? Vibhishan asked him, why have you inquired about Hanuman and not about Ram, Lakshman, Sugriv, and Angad? Jamwant replied, if Hanuman is living, then the army is still intact, even if it is even if it is apparently massacred. But if Hanuman is dead, then the entire army is destroyed. even if the soldiers are apparently alive. Hearing this, Hanuman came forward, clasping Jamvan's feet, and said, "Rest assured that I am well." Jamvan instructed him, "Go quickly to the Himalayas and locate the Rishabh mountain. Between Rishabh and Kailash is an effulgent mountain covered with powerful medicinal herbs that illuminate all direction. You must gather 4 of these herbs and bring them back here. These herbs are Mrit Sanjeevani, which can restore even a dead man back to life; Vishay Karani, used for extracting weapons and healing wounds; Swarna Karini, which restore the body's original luster; and Sandhani, which is used for healing fractured bones and joints, severed limbs. If you can procure these herbs, then all the monkeys' heroes who have lost their life can be revived." Hanuman became enlivened and swelled up with renewed energy. After going to the Trikuta mountain, Hanuman squatted down in preparation for the tremendous sleep. The mountain peak crumbled from his pressure. The trees burst into flames from the friction he generated. Likewise, Lanka's palaces and city gates began to collapse. An entire city trembled, striking all the citizens with fear. Hanuman first jumped to the Malya mountain on the opposite side of the sea. Further expanding himself, Hanuman bowed to the sun god, then again leaped into air, drawing the huge rocks and trees in his wake. While soaring through the air at the speed of wind, Hanuman soon sighted the Himalaya mountains with their golden peak. After sighting Mountain Rishabh and Mount Kailash, Hanuman located the mountains situated between them that Jamvan had described, and was astonished to see its blazing effulgence. Hanuman searched frantically all over the mountain for the required herbs. However, the creepers had hidden themselves upon seeing the arrival of an intruder. So Hanuman could not locate them. Hanuman roared furiously and challenged, "O mountain, if you try to impede the service of Lord Ram, I shall smash you into millions of tiny pieces." Recov- Receiving no response, Hanuman decided that if he could not find the herbs, he had better bring the mountain and let Jamvan find them for himself. Breaking off the top of the mountain, Hanuman sprung into the air and quickly flew the 1,000 yojnas to Lanka. As he landed on the peak of the Trikuta mountain, all the monkeys shouted with joy. Jamvan quickly gathered the required herbs and placed them below the nostrils of Ram and Lakshman for them to inhale, upon which their wounds were immediately healed. The herbs were then administered to the wounded monkeys, who all sprung to their feet as though rousing from a sound sleep. Even the monkeys that were previously killed were instantly revived by the herbs. Hanuman then quickly returned to the Himalayas and placed the mountain peak back in its place. Hanuman had Hanuman had completed the entire mission in just one day, and when he returned to Lanka, night had already fallen. Sugriv told him, "My dear Hanuman, since all the dead Rakshasas have been thrown into the ocean on Ravana's order, we cannot estimate how many of them have been killed. Nevertheless, of all Ravana's sons, only Indrajit still survives. Thus, Lanka is now defenseless. I suggest we take up torch and invade the city at night to throw the enemy into confusion." The monkeys soon began their march to Lanka. When they approached the city gates, the Rakshasa guard fled in fear. The monkeys were able to enter without a fight. With torches in hand, the monkey soldiers ran through the street of Lanka, setting all the palaces, gate, and walls ablaze. As the fire raged on all sides, thousands of burning buildings topped to the ground. The whole of Lanka was in pandemonium. Burnt Rakshasas animals ran widely in all directions, wailing in anguish. Ram and Lakshman took up their bows. When Ram twanged his bowstring, the sound was heard above the clamor, striking terror into the hearts of Rakshasas. Ram then destroys Lanka's principal gate with a barrage of arrows. When Ravan saw the destruction, he became mad with rage. The Rakshasa then dispatched Kumba and Nikumba, the son of Kumkarna, along with many other Rakshas heroes, including Yupshka, Sonitax, Prajanga, and Kampan. Both the monkeys and Rakshas armies were eager to combat. Thus, when the battle ensued outside the gates of Lanka, the fighting was especially fierce. Amidst the slaughters of warriors on both sides, Angad suddenly rushed to Kampa. But when the Rakshas struck him with the mace, Angad fell backward, bereft of consciousness. The prince quickly recovered and then, picking up a huge mountain peak, he hurled at Kampan, smashing him to death. This enraged Sonitska, then rushed at Angad on his chariot and riddled him with arrows. But without flattering, Angad smashed the Rakshasa's chariot and bow with his bare hands. Sonitak, Sonitakasha was forced to jump down from his disabled carrier and take up his sword and shield. Angad quickly went and captured Sonitaksha, and after snatching the sword from his hand, slashed him with it. As Sonitaksha fell wounded, Angad rushed off to fight with the other Rakshasa chief. Yupshka and Prajanga came to interrupt Angad, while Sonitaksha got up and followed him from behind. Mainda and David, Divida then rushed to Angad's aid, and the three monkeys locked in the fierce battle with the Rakshasas' heroes. As the bombarded the Rakshasas with trees and mountain peaks, the Rakshasas tore them to pieces with their weapons. Prajanga rushed to Angad, wielding a sword, but the son of Vali struck him down with the tree before he could attack. As Prajanga tried to stand up, Angad punched him, knocking him to the ground, unconscious. Seeing this, Sonitaksha rushed forward and suddenly brought down his first fist upon Angad's forehead. Although he was momentarily dazed, Angad quickly recovered, so that when Prajanga rushed again with renewed vigor, the prince was able to decapitate him with a mere slap of his hand. After witnessing the death of his uncle on the battlefield, Yupshka got down from the chariot. Then, with terrified eyes, he rushed impetuously at Divida. Sword in hand, Divida caught hold of the onrushing Rakshasa and began pounding him repeatedly in the chest. Seeing his brother captured, Sonitaksha ran up to Divida and violently struck him in the chest with the mace. Div- Divida reeled back in a daze, but as Sonitaks lifted his mace to strike again, Divida caught hold of the weapon and wrestled it from the Rakshasa's hand. Meanwhile, Mainda arrived on the scene and struck Yupaksha in the chest with his hand. Soon, Divida and Mainda became locked in the wrestling match with Opshaka and Sonitakash. Divida tore at Sonitaka's face with his sharp nails, and after dashing him to the ground, crushed the Rakshasas to death with his knees. Mainda then pressed Opshaka tightly in his arms, squeezing the life out of his body. After the death of these two heroes, the Rakshasa soldiers fearfully took shelter of Kumbha, the son of Kumbha. The son of Kumbhakarna struck Duvida down with an arrow, making him writhe on the ground in pain. Mainda then hurled a huge rock while rushing at Kumbha, but the Rakshasa broke it to pieces with 5 arrows. Then, with another arrow, Kumbha struck Mahinda in the chest, making him fall unconscious. Seeing his two uncles fall, severely wounded, Angad became enraged and madly rushed at Kumbha, seeking revenge. Although numerous arrows struck him as he advanced, Angad remained unshaken. He released a shower of rocks upon Kumbha's head. However, Kumbha shattered the rock and pierced Angad's eyebrows with two arrows. Despite the flowing blood covering his vision, Angad managed to grab a huge tree and hurled it at Kumbha. As the Rakshasa cut it to pieces, Angad fainted to the ground, too affiliated from his numerous wounds. The monkeys then went to Ram and told him of Angad's plight. Ram dispatched Jamwan and other monkeys helped to go leaders to go to Angad's aid. As the monkey warriors approached, however, Kumbha checked them with a shower of arrows. Sugriv then rushed to Kumbha's, throwing numerous trees. The Rakshas, however, cut all the trees apart and shot Sugriv with numerous arrows. Still, Sugriv remained undaunted, and he continued to advance within reach of Kumbha's chariot. Suddenly, Sugriv jumped up and snatched the bow from Kumbha's hand, breaking it in half. Then, quickly jumping down from the chariot, Sugriv said, "O Kumbha, you have certainly exhibited great prowess on the battlefield today. Your father was naturally endowed with great power, whereas Ravan achieved superior powers from the benediction of Lord Brahma. You, however, are powerful in both ways. O Rakshasa, I would have killed you just now, but since you are exhausted after so much fighting, I request you to return to Lanka for rest. Therefore, we can fight more under fairer condition." Kumbha appreciated Sugriva's noble words, but without accepting the offer, suddenly grabbed the monkey king in his strong arms. As the two wrestled, the earth began sinking from the immense pressure upon it. Finally, Sugriv lifted Kumbha up and threw him into the ocean, causing waves as high as mountains to swell up in all directions. Kumbha, however, sprung back onto the land and rushed at Sugriv, then threw him to the ground and began beating him in the chest with the fist. Although his armor was smashed and blood gushed from his wounds, Sugriv clenched his powerful fist and pounded Kumbha's chest with all his might. The son of Kumbhakarna was crushed by Sugriv's blows, and he fell to the ground, mortally wounded. Seeing his elder brother slain, Nikumba began to roar so loudly and swing his club so widely that all the monkeys and Rakshasas became paralyzed with fears. As Hanuman came before him, Nukumba struck him in the chest with his terrible club. But when the club hit mighty Hanuman, it merely scattered into 100 pieces. Hanuman then smashed his clenched fist upon Nikumba's chest, causing the Rakshasa to stagger backward. Upon recovering himself, however, Nikumba captured Hanuman in his arms and began to carry him away. Hanuman soon escaped Nikumba's clutches and dashed his opponent to the ground. Hanuman then pounced upon his foe and began to crush him with his knees. At the same time, the heroic son of Vayu grabbed Nikumba by the neck and began twisting until he tore the Rakshasa's head from his trunk. Upon witnessing this ghastly feast, the monkeys shouted with joy. When Ravan received news of Nikumba's death, he ordered the son of Kara, named Mahar- Maharaksha, to fight with Ram and Lakshman. Maharaksha approached the battlefield boasting of his prowess, but inauspicious omens suggested his coming defeat. The whip slipped from his chariote's hands, and his flagpole fell to the ground. His horses fluttered with tears in their eyes, seeming depressed. Likewise, a severe dust storm suddenly manifested, bringing gloom and darkness. Maharaksha, Maharaksha however, ignored these omens and confidently approached the battlefield. When the fighting began, Maharaksha slayed many monkeys with his arrows. Then, as the Rakshasa roared triumphant- triumphantly and the monkeys fled for their lives, Ram took up his bow and began sending down torrent of arrows upon the Rakshas. The enraged Maharaksha then challenged Ram with a harsh word. Ram, however, merely laughed, exclaiming, "O proud fool! There has never been a war that was won merely by words." Maharaksha then released a steady stream of arrows, but Ram blasted them all to pieces with his own. Then, coming to close quarters, the two fought furiously. As demigods assembled overhead to witness the splendid duel, although Ram and Mahar- Maharakshak deeply wounded each other, their strength seemed to only increase. Indeed, they shot so many arrows that the view of the battlefield was obscured. Then, flaring with rage, Ram split Maharakshak's bow in half, smashed his chariot to pieces, and killed his driver and horse. Jumping down from the broken chariot, Maharakshak took up a spear given to him by Rudra, and pitched it at Ram. Ram, however, cut the spear to pieces with his arrows. Then, as Ram fitted an Agni weapons to his bowstring, Maharak- Maharakshak madly rushed towards him with an upraised fist. But before the Rakshas could reach him, Ram fired a celestial arrow that entered Maharakshak's heart and killed him. When the Rakshas army saw their leader slain, they fled back to Lanka. Thereafter, Ravana ordered Indrajit to re enter the battle. The prince again went to his sacrificial altar, pouring libations of ghee on the fire so as to increase his potency unlimitedly. Indrajit took another goat by the neck and threw it into the fire as an offering. As before, Agni personally came before him to accept the offering, and the fire blazed up brightly. Indrajit then mounted his chariot, protecting it and all his weapons with the potency of Lord Brahma. Shortly thereafter, Indrajit began showering his arrows upon Ram and Lakshman from his invisible position in the sky. The sons of Dashrath tried to counter-attack Indrajit with celestial weapons, but none could touch the powerful son of Ravan. Then, using his mystic power, Indrajit made everything dark and annihilated Ram and Lakshman with a barrage of arrows, severely wounding them. Firing towards the direction of the arrows that rained down, Ram struck Indrajit, but the Rakshas hero appeared undaunted. Finally, Lakshman became frustrated by their seeing helplessness and declared, "I will now invoke the Brahmastra and thereby destroy all the Rakshasas once and for all." Ram replied, "My dear brother, while fighting with one enemy, it is not proper to kill others who are not taking part in the battle. I am also very eager to put an end to this powerful Rakshas. But have patience and let us discharge more of our celestial weapons at him." Indrajit could then understand that Ram intended to finish him off quickly. Thus, he retreated hastily for Lanka. Soon afterwards, he set out again for the battlefield. However, this time he chose to remain visible, accompanied by an illusionary Sita. Seeing Indrajit before them, all the monkeys headed by Hanuman rushed towards to attack. However, when they saw that Sita was also seated upon the chariot, they became extremely depressed. Then, while the monkeys looked on helplessly, Indrajit drew his sword and grabbed Sita by the hair. The illusionary Sita cried out, "Ram, Ram," and Indrajit pushed her with his fist. Feeling unbearable agony, Hanuman shouted, "You are the most abominable of all Rakshasas. I promise that you will soon be punished in the hell reserved for the killers of women." Seeing this, Hanuman rushed to Indrajit, followed by many monkeys. However, the Rakshasa repelled them with his arrows. Indrajit declared, "Watch me now as I kill Sita." A person who desired to win a war must be willing to give pain to the enemy. At that, Indrajit took his sword and violently smashed the illusionary Sita's body diagonally, causing her to fall immediately to the ground in a pool of blood. Indrajit then taunted Hanuman, saying, Sita is now dead, proving all your endeavors to rescue her a useless waste of energy. Indrajit then let out a loud roar, causing the monkeys to scatter. Hanuman chastised the fleeing monkeys for being coward. Then the army railed, and Hanuman began to massacre Rakshasa with the vigilance. From a great distance, Hanuman hurled a huge rock at Indrajit's chariot. The Rakshasa quickly maneuvered to avoid the rock, and when it landed, it crushed many Rakshasa soldiers, split the ground, and entered the bowels of the earth. Hanuman continued to slaughter many Rakshas, while Indrajit attempted to check him with a storm of arrows. After some time, Hanuman thought, since Sita has been killed, it would be best for the monkey army to retreat so that I can report Ram and receive his instruction. When Hanuman and the monkeys left the battle scene, Indrajit went to the sanctuary called Nikumbh Hila to make offerings into the sacrificial fire for the Rakshas. From a distant place, Ram could see how the monkeys were fiercely fighting with Indrajit and sent Jamwan to aid them. Jamwan met Hanuman and monkeys as they retreated. When Hanuman met Ram, he informed him of how Sita has been mercilessly slain by Indrajit. Immediately, Ram fell to the ground unconscious. The monkeys came quickly and sprinkled water to revive him. Lakshman picked up Ram in his arms and lamented, oh, what terrible misfortune! It appears that virtue and vice have changed roles. Perhaps virtue is simply not strong enough to give a good result without the assistance of sufficient prowess. Therefore, it is best to just depend on one's prowess and forget all so called moral consideration. I hereby vote to destroy all the Lanka, including Indrajit and Ravan. My dear Ram, please remember your divine position as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and thus give up your excessive sorrow. Vibhishan then came forward, having restored the monkeys' soldiers to confidence. Seeing the grief stricken Lakshman with Ram unconscious on his lap, he asked, what has happened? As Lakshman began to explain Sita's death, Vibhishan interrupted, saying, it is not possible that Sita has been killed by Indrajit, for Ravan would never voluntarily part with her. The Sita you saw being killed was certainly an illusionary creation of the Rakshasa's mystic power. O Lakshman, you should immediately go to Nikumbh Hila and kill Indrajit while he is busy making sacrificial offerings. If we do not attack him now, Indrajit will once again make himself invisible and become unassailable. Ram was too overwhelmed by grief to clearly understand what Vibhishan has said. He asked him to repeat himself. Vibhishan then explained further. Long ago, Indrajit performed severe austerity to satisfy Lord Brahma. Although the Grandshire awarded Indrajit the Brahmastra and flying horses, he also predicted, you will be killed by an enemy while engaged in performing sacrifice at Nikumbhil. Therefore, Lakshmana must go at once to kill him, otherwise, he will become so powerful that all the monkeys will surely be slain. Hearing this, Ram ordered, Lakshman, take Hanuman, Vibhishan, and the rest of the monkey army. Lakshman touched Ram's feet, vowing to kill Indrajit, and he departed. When Lakshman approached Nikumbh Hill, he saw innumerable Rakshasa guarding it. Vibhishan advised, let their army be attacked first. When the Rakshasa are hard pressed, Indrajit will appear. When the battle had begun, Indrajit saw how his army was being assailed and mounted his chariot, even though his sacrifice remained incomplete. Hanuman was slaying many Rakshasa soldiers, but when Indrajit appeared, they suddenly took heart and rushed at him. As Hanuman continued to massacre Rakshas, Indrajit released a torrent of arrows on Hanuman and the monkey soldiers. Vibhishan then took Lakshman to the place beneath a banyan tree where Indrajit offered oblations into the sacrificial fire before entering the battlefield. Vibhishan knew that Indrajit would soon here, come there to complete his rituals and urged Lakshman to wait there and kill Indrajit when he returned. Lakshman took his stand, and before long, Indrajit did return. As Lakshman challenged him to fight, Indrajit rebuked Vibhishan, saying, "Why does my own uncle come here to do me harm? I am the favorite son of your elder brother. Have you no feel have you no feeling for your family members? Have you too are born in the Rakshasa dynasty? How you have you no pride of your birth? Wicked fool! Can't you see how you have betrayed your kinsmen? Is there no difference between living with one's own family and licking the feet of strangers? One's worst relative is always better than an outsider. Only you could act as treacherously." Vibhishan answered, "O nephew, if you are truly concerned with dharma, then why do you reproach me, your elder? It is true that I have been born in a family of Rakshasa, but my nature is quite different. I hate impudence and cruelty. It is your father, not I, who caused this breach in our family. According to religious injunctions, it is one's duty to renounce all connections with sinful persons, even if they happen to be family relations. One who kidnaps another's wife is most abominable and should be cast off like a snake that clings to one's body. To mistrust friends, to have sexual relationship with the wife of another, or to steal others' property always led to destruction. Ravan is doomed. Along with him, you and all the Lanka will be destroyed. O Indrajit, you are merely a proud, ill mannered boy. Say whatever you like, but soon you will lay down your life, riddled by the arrows of Lakshman. Lakshman was mounted upon Hanuman, and after an exchange of challenges, Indrajit suddenly pierced him with two arrows. Lakshman responded by striking Indrajit in the chest with five arrows, and thus the fierce duel began. After some time, Indrajit became pale and weakened from the onslaught of Lakshman's arrow. Vibhishan urged Lakshman to make short work of the Rakshas. Lakshman released more of his powerful arrows, causing Indrajit to become temporarily dazed. However, he quickly recovered, saying, "Remember how I previously defeated you?" and pierced Lakshman with seven arrows, Hanuman with 10, and Vibhishan with 100. Lakshman, however, simply laughed, again covering Indrajit with arrows and shattering his golden armor to pieces. However, when Indrajit retaliated with 1,000 arrows, Lakshman's armors were also shattered. Thus, neither appeared to gain the upper hand. The fighting continued for a long time. Lakshman and Indrajit assaulted each other with arrows, both determined to gain victory. Innumerable arrows pierced through their bodies and entered the earth, causing them to bleed profusely. The masses of arrows that have been contracted were spread all over the ground like so much kusha grass. Neither Lakshman nor Indrajit tired. As they fought, Vibhishan attacked the other Rakshasa, not wishing to fight with his nephew. The fighting between the two armies became very heated. As Jamwan went on a rampage, Hanuman had Lakshman get down from his back so that he too could join the melee and proceed to exterminate Rakshasas by thousands. As the sun sank below the horizon, the sky became exceedingly dark, covered by the instant flow of arrows shot by Lakshman and Indrajit. The two bows worked so quickly that motion of their arms could not be discerned. Lakshman shot an arrow that beheaded Indrajit's driver, and the Rakshasa had to drive his chariot and simultaneously shoot his arrows. This allowed Lakshman the opportunity to pierce his adversary more easily, and after some time, Indrajit began to lose strength. Four monkeys warriors then jumped upon Indrajit's horse. ripping them to pieces with their sharp teeth and claws. The monkeys then proceed to smash the chariot to pieces. Indrajit was forced to dismount. In the dense darkness, Lakshman began to close in on his foe. Indrajit ordered the Rakshasa to keep the monkeys engaged while re-entered Lakshman for a new chariot. After some time, Indrajit returned to the battlefield with renewed enthusiasm and began slaying monkeys by thousands, causing the army to run to Lakshman's shelter. Lakshman then snapped Indrajit's bow and punctured his chest with 5 arrows. At that, Indrajit picked up a stronger bow, but Lakshman counteracted all the bows he released. Lakshman flared up with energy and proceeded to strike every Rakshas with 2 arrows, while wounding Indrajit at the same time. Indrajit responded with a flurry of arrows, and Lakshman served the charioteer's head and fired at the horse, throwing them into confusion. All the while, Indrajit's arrow bounced off Lakshman's armor. Considering his armor to be impenetrable, Indrajit began to shoot Lakshman in the forehead. Although wounded, Lakshman quickly struck Indrajit in his face with 5 arrows. Indrajit then stabbed Vibhishan's face with 3 arrows, causing him to rush at his nephew in a fit of rage, wielding his club. As Vibhishan pounded his horses to death, Indrajit jumped down from the chariot and hurled to spear at his uncle. At that, Lakshman intervened, chopping the spear to pieces with his arrows. Then, when Vibhishan punctured Indrajit's chest with 5 arrows, Indrajit knocked a terrible Yama weapon into the bowstring. Seeing this danger, Lakshman took out a wonderful arrow awarded by him by Kuvera in the dream. When both weapons were released, they collided in midair, brightly lighting up the entire night sky and causing a huge explosion as they scattered into hundreds of pieces amid cracking sparkles and billowing smoke. Lakshman then released a Yama weapon and Indrajit neutralized it with Rudra weapon. Taking the offensive, Indrajit shot a Agni weapon, but Lakshman successfully counteracted it with Surya missile. Indrajit then put an Asura weapon at his bowstring that immediately brought forth numerous swords, clubs, chakras, and axes. However, by employing a Rudra weapon, Lakshman neutralized it. Indrajit had gradually begun to lose heart when Lakshman selected a wonderful weapon belonging to King Indra. As he placed the invincible weapon on his bowstring, drawing it back to his ear, Lakshman prayed, O chief of the celestials, if Ram is truly the unrivaled Lord and the shelter of truth and virtue, let this weapon kill Ravana's son. That effulgent arrow soared swiftly through the air and cut off the head of Indrajit, the Rakshas who had been the greatest impediment to Lord Rama's army of monkeys. As the panic stricken Rakshasa ran in all directions, the monkey shouted with joy, jumping up and down. In the sky, demigods and Rishi cried out ecstatically, praising Lakshmana's victory. Then, as the denizens of heaven showered flowers upon the heroes, the monkeys danced with joy, lashing their tails and shouting, Jai Ram, Jai Lakshman. Exhausted and severely wounded, Lakshman leaned upon Vibhishan and Hanuman as he came before Ram to circumambulate him. Vibhishan then narrated the entire story of Indrajit's defeat. Listening intently, Ram experienced transcendental pleasure. After congratulating Lakshman and smelling his head with great affection, Ram said, Indrajit was just like Ravana's right arm. Now that he has been killed, after 3 days and nights of battle, the Rakshasa king will surely come out to fight. Lakshman was tormented with pain from the numerous wounds inflicted upon him by Indrajit's arrow. Therefore, Ram ordered Susen to treat him and all the wounded monkeys. Later, when Susen had Lakshman inhaled the vapor of certain medicinal herb, Lakshman was delighted to find that all his pains vanished and his wound suddenly healed. Ravana's minister informed him how Lakshman had killed Indrajit. With the assistance of Vibhishan, Ravan fainted upon hearing the news and only after a long time regained consciousness. Ravan lamented sorely over the death of his beloved heir apparent. Becoming possessed by mad anger, Ravan decided to take revenge by killing Sita. As he announced this, his appearance was so fierce that the other Rakshasas hid themselves out of fear. Ravana called for his in, impenetrable armor, bow and arrows, all awarded him by Lord Brahma. He declared, I will now enact in reality what Indrajit merely did as a conjugal trick, simply by simply to torment the enemy. Ravana violently unsheathed his sword and rushed to the Ashok grove, followed by Mandodari and several of his ministers. Although these well wishers tried their best to re- restrain him, Ravan soon arrived before the terrified Sita. As he waved his sword menacingly, Sita could understand that he intended to kill her. Sita wondered, what has happened to make the wicked Rakshas king come here like this before my allotted 12 months have elapsed? Has he become too frustrated by his repeated refusals? By my repeated refusals? Is he simply going to kill me out of desperation, being unable to defeat Ram and Lakshman? I should have taken Hanuman's advice and let him carry me back to Ram on his back. Then I never could have been put into this ghastly situation. Feeling compassion for the grief-stricken Sita, a pious minister named Suprashva Suprasva addressed Ravana, O Lord, you have studied all the Vedas and observed the strictest vows. How can you even think of harming a woman like this? Let the lovely Sita be. Instead, vent your wrath upon your real enemy. Today is the 14th day of the dark lunar fortnight. Tomorrow, as the new moon emerges, march against Ram and his monkey horders and obtain victory. I am sure that after killing Ram, you'll be able to enjoy Sita at your heart contents. Why should it prematurely frustrate your ardent desire in this way? Ravan accepted his flattering advice. He then gave up the idea of killing Sita and returned to his palace. Sitting morosely upon his throne, Ravan, still mourning for the loss of his favorite son, gave the following order. I want all remaining Rakshasas to go at once and attack Ram together. If they are unable to kill him, then tomorrow I will personally go fight with him. Just before dawn, the Rakshasa rushed out from the city to fight with monkeys, and the furious battle ensued. The insider Rakshasa quickly butchered many monkey soldiers, causing those remaining to run to the shelter of Ram's lotus field. Ram then employed a spectacular Gandharva weapon that shot forth unlimited streams of arrows upon the Rakshasa. The showers of arrows were so dense that the Rakshasa could no longer see Ram. All they could see was the decimation of innumerable Rakshasa soldiers. Because of the Gandharva's weapon, Ram sometimes appeared invisible, and at other times the Rakshasa saw 1,000 Rams standing before them in all directions. Within 90 minutes, Ram massacred 200,000 foot soldiers, 18,000 elephants warriors, 14,000 cavalrymen, and numerous chariot fighters. The survivors then fled back to the safety of Lanka. As the demigods in the sky ecstatically praised Ram and his victory, Ram said, O great monkey heroes, you should know that the ability to employ such celestial weapons is only possible for myself and Lord Shiva. Meanwhile, in Lanka, the widow of the slain Rakshasa grouped together and lamented over the death of their husbands. They wailed out, we curse Surpanakha, for she is the root cause of the enmity between Ram and Ravan that had destroyed our race. Because Ram has defeated Ravan many times in the past, Ravan should well aware of his invincible prowess. Why should our foolish king accept the advice of Why couldn't our foolish king accept the advice of Vibhishan and avoid this carnage? Hearing the woman's lamentation, Ravan suddenly boiled over with an uncontrollable rage. Hissing like a trumpet, Hissing like a trampled serpent, he ordered his ministers, "Prepare my army for battle at once. Today I shall finally kill Ram, Lakshman, and all the monkeys with my torrent of arrows. Bring my chariot and make certain that every able bodied Rakshasa soldiers followed me." At Ravana's command, 100,000 chariot, 300,000 elephants, 60 million horse soldiers, and unlimited foot soldiers assembled. Ravan then mounted his chariot, drawn by 8 horses and equipped with numerous weapons belonging to the chief demigods. When Ravan came from his palace, he was greeted with a tremendous fanfare by blowing conch shells, trumpets, and shouts of encouragement from the citizens. When the monkey heard the uproar, feeling of fear and dread entered their hearts. Then, as Ravan exited from the northern gate, along with Mahendra, Mahap- Maharshva, and Virupaksha, a gloomy atmosphere prevailed. Dark clouds obscured the sun and rained down blood. As Ravan's horses stumbled on the road, Ravan's left eye twitched, his left arm throbbed, his face grew pale, and his voice became hoarse. Then, as meteors stick across the sky, a vulture, pu- a vulture pushed on Ravana's flagstall. Ravan ignored these evil omens and continued on to meet his doomed fate. When the fighting began, Ravan created havoc, for none of the monkeys could stand before his onslaught of arrows. As the enraged Sugriv led the monkeys in a fierce counterattack upon the Rakshas army, Ravana turned his attention towards Ram. Meanwhile, Virupaksha got down from his chariot and mounted an elephant. He rushed towards the monkeys while raining down arrows upon them. Sugriv tore up gigantic tree and violently smashed the elephant, throwing him backward. Jumping from the wounded elephant, Virupaksha picked up his sword and shield and angrily rushed to Sugriv. Although Sugriv hurled a huge boulder at his onrushing foe, Virupaksha dodged it and slashed the monkey king with his sword. Momentarily dazed, Sugriv fell to the ground, but he quickly sprung up and punched Virupaksha in the chest. This only enraged the Rakshas more. Virupaksha cut off Sugriv's armor with his sword and gave him a kick, making Sugriv fall backward. Again, Sugriv sprung to his feet. When he tried to give the Rakshasa a mighty slap, Virupaksha ducked and the blow and punched Sugriv in the chest. Flaring with rage, Sugriv looked for an opportunity to strike and suddenly brought the palm of his hand down on Virupaksha's forehead and all with all his might. Immediately blood gushed from all 9 holes of the Rakshasa's body and he fell down dead. Witnessing the death of Virupaksha, the loss of many Rakshasa soldiers, Ravan became very more incensed. He urged Mahodra to vanquish the enemy. Fighting heroically, Mahodra began to consume the monkey soldiers in great numbers, making them run for the shelter of Sugriv. Sugriv rushed to Mahodra and hurled a huge rock, but the Rakshasa broke it to pieces with his arrows. Boiling with rage, Sugriv tore up a tall tree, but the Rakshas arrows immediately cut it to pieces and pierced the Monkey King. Sugriv took up an iron club lying on the ground and rushed towards Mahodra. He struck down Mahodra's horse, forcing the Rakshas to jump from his disabled chariot. Mahodra then rushed to Sugriv while launching his mace. Likewise, Sugriv threw his club, and the two weapons collided in midair, neutralizing each other. Sugriv and Mahodra both scrambled to pick up more clubs that were lying about and tossed the weapons at each other. Finally, the two closed in on each other and began fighting hand to hand. Mahodra picked up a sword and cut deeply into Sugriv's armor. However, the sword remained momentarily stuck, and as Mahodra struggled to free it, Sugriv took advantage and knocked off the Rakshasa's head, bereft of their leader. Mahodra's army fled from the battlefield. Meanwhile, Mahaprashva appeared on the scene and began slaughtering the monkey warriors. When Angad saw his soldiers becoming disheartened, he took a heavy club and flung it to Mahaprashva with all his might. The Rakshasa and his driver were struck so violently that they both fell to the ground unconscious. Jamvan then hurled a huge rock that, that shattered Mahaprashva's chariots and killed his horse. Thus, when the Rakshas hero regained consciousness, he was forced to continue fighting on the ground. Mahaprashva immediately retaliated by penetrating Jamvan's chest with 3 arrows and showering innumerable arrows upon Angad. Angad responded by throwing an iron club that knocked off Mahaprashva's golden crown and broke his bow and arrow. Then, rushing towards Angad, soundly slapped the Rakshas on the head. This merely enraged the Rakshas further. However, who then picked up an axe and hurled it at the monkey prince. Angad expertly dodged the weapon. He then charged Mahaprashva and smashed his chest with such force that the Rakshas chest burst open, killing him instantly. As Mahaprashva's army scattered in confusion, the monkeys and demigods shouted with joy. And Ravan, seated with rage, the king of Rakshasas then mounted his chariot and advanced towards Ram, sending a continual stream of arrows. Ram counteracted Ravan's arrow with his own, and thus a fierce battle gradually evolved between the two arch enemies. Soon, the continuous volley of arrows covered the sky, creating darkness all around. The other monkey and Rakshasa soldiers ceased fighting to witness the spectacular contest. When Ravan struck Ram in the forehead with an arrow, Ram remained undaunted and retaliated with a Rudra weapon. Even though that missile discharged innumerable arrows, they simply bounced off Ravana's impenetrable armor without harming him in the least. Ravan invoked a mystic Asura weapon, causing countless arrows with the heads of lions, tigers, vultures, serpents, and alligators to rush at Ram, their mouth open to devour him. Although Ram employed an Agni weapon, they melted the arrows of Ravan in midair. Thousands of monkeys were slain by them. Still, Ram and the monkey chiefs were pleased, since the weapon Ravana employed was known to be one of his most powerful. Ravan next invoked a Rudra weapon created by Maya, Dano, releasing mages, lances, thunderbolts, and noose in steady stream. Ram quickly foiled the Rudra weapon with his Gandharva weapon. Ravan then discharged a brilliant Surya weapon that caused enormous effulgent chakras to shoot out at Ram. With a display of inconceivable scale, Ram shattered all the chakra with his arrows. But while he was doing so, Ravan pierced Ram's chest with 10 powerful shafts. Ram, however, did not flinch and retaliated by shooting Ravan's limbs with numerous arrows. Desiring to enter the fray, Lakshman released 7 arrows that cut down Ravana's flag. With another arrow, Lakshman served the head of Ravana's driver. With 5 more, split the Rakshasa's king bow. Then Vibhishan also rushed towards and killed Ravan's horse with his mace, forcing his enraged brother to jump from the disabled chariot. When Ravan angrily hurled a lance at Vibhishan, Lakshman cut it to pieces with 3 arrows as it soared through the air. Ravan then picked up magical spear manufactured by Maya Dano. Seeing how Lakshman's life, Seeing how Vibhishan's life was in danger, Lakshman quickly hurled so many arrows upon Ravan that he became stunned while standing with his spear in hand. Ravan shouted at Lakshman, "Because you have dared because you have dared rescue Vibhishan, the spear that was meant for him will instead take your life." Ravan roared like a lion and hurled the magical spear. As it unwillingly soared through the air towards Lakshman, Ram requested the spear to become ineffectual. Nonetheless, the spear shot through Lakshman's chest and stuck into the ground, making the son of Sumitra fall down seriously wounded. When Ram saw Lakshmana's pitiful condition, he became extremely despondent with tears filled his eyes. Then, suppressing his intense grief, Ram extracted the spear from Lakshman's body, even as Ravan showered arrows upon him. Breaking the spear in half, Ram raised Lakshman in his arm and tearfully embraced him. Then, after ordering Hanuman and Sugriva to guard Lakshman, Ram angrily declared, I shall now exhibit my full power prowess against the wicked Ravan. I promise he will soon be slain on the battlefield. The monkeys may now go and sit at ease upon the mountain tops. Let them watch with the demigods as I perform a wonderful feat that will be glorified until the dissolution of the world. Ram attacked Ravan with a vigilance. As they proceed to cover one another with torrent of arrows, the twanging bows produce an astonishing clamor. The infuriated Ram soon overwhelmed Ravan, causing the Rakshasa to flee the battlefield in fear. Ram then went to Lakshman and with great anguish told Sushil, just by looking at my wounded brother, my strength immediately withers. Without Lakshman, victory will have no meaning for me. If he dies, I shall follow him just as he followed me when I was exiled to the forest. With the reassuring voice, Shushan replied, O Ram, Lakshman is not dying. His facial luster has not faded, and his eyes are still sparkling brightly. However, Hanuman must immediately be dispatched to the Mahodaya mountain to collect the herbs called Vishrakarni, Swaranakarni, Sanjeevanakarni, and Samadhini. By this medicinal treatment, Lakshman can immediately be recovered to perfect health. Hanuman again leaped to the Himalayas. However, arriving at Mahodaya mountain, he could not recognize the necessary herbs. In frustration, he again tore off the mountain peak and, while holding in the both hands, returned to Lanka, placing the mountain peak near Sushen. Hanuman lay down for a moment to rest, saying, I could not recognize which herbs to bring, so I decided to carry the entire mountain here. Sushen praised Hanuman and then went to look for the proper herbs. Thereafter, he crushed the herbs into powder, and when Lakshman was given them to smell, his wound instantly became healed. As Lakshman stood up, Ram embraced him firmly, saying, It is my good fortune that you are well, O Lakshman. Without you, there would be no use in recovering Sita or even maintaining my life any longer. Lakshman replied, My dear brother, please do not indulge in such grief any longer. Quickly make good make good your vow to kill Ravan and install Vibhishan as king of Lanka. Meanwhile, Ravan mounted another chariot and rushed out from the city, eager to fight with Ram. Ram took up his bow and released a downpour of arrows upon Ravan. However, from the sky, the demigods exclaimed, This battle is not being fairly fought. Ram is standing on the ground while Ravana rides in a chariot. Taking this clue, Indra called Mat- Matali and ordered him to take his chariot to Ram on the battlefield. Matali thus came before Ram, driving Indra's golden chariot, which was drawn by 1,000 greenish horses. The celestial charioteer then announced to Ram, My dear Lord, King Indra requested you to kindly accept this chariot for fighting with Ravan. Inside, you will find Indra's bow and armor. Along with Indra's bow and armor, along with an incomparable spear and various celestial arrows. O Ram, please mount the chariot at once, for the demigods are most disturbed to see you having to fight standing on the ground. After circumambulating Indra's chariot, Ram mounted it, and a thrilling duel ensued. When Ravana released a Gandharva weapon, Ram quickly neutralized it with another Gandharva weapon. Next, Ravan discharged a Rakshasa weapon that took the form of innumerable serpents with blazing wide open mouth. In response, Ram released a Garuda weapon that transformed into countless golden eagles that quickly ate up all the Ravana's snake arrows. This enraged the Rakshas king, who then rapidly discharged 1,000 arrows at Ram. He also shot numerous arrows that hit Ma- Malati, Matali, a single arrow that knocked down Indra's flag, and many more that affiliated the horses. Ravan was putting Ram in great difficulty, and the demigods and monkeys warriors became quite anxious. Ram then assumed a more frightening angry form, causing the entire earth with its mountain and oceans to quake. Many evil omens manifest, and all created beings, including Ravan, became afraid. Numerous demons suddenly appeared in the sky to cheer Ravan towards victory. As if in response, Ravan picked up a fearsome dart and roared so fiercely that heaven and earth began to tremble. Then he shouted, Ram, prepare yourself, for you shall now die. Ravan hurled the lethal dart. Soaring through the sky, it made a loud roaring noise, and was encircled by lightning. Ram released innumerable arrows to counteract Ravan's awesome weapons, just as Indra tries to stop the fire of devastation by pouring down torrent rain. When Ram saw all these arrows being consumed by the fearsome dart, he picked up the celestial spear of Indra and hurled it, soaring through the air. Indra's spear illuminated all directions, then collided with Ravan's dart, shattering it to pieces that fell harmlessly to the ground. We'll stop reading today for the
Thank you so much, Venugita Mataji, for the wonderful reading that came straight from the heart. We could feel it here. And thank you so much to Gandhavika Mataji for so meticulously planning and organizing and scheduling all the reader devotees here. So I'm going to unmute everybody, and so that you can express your gratitudes towards Venugita Mataji. Here we go.
Thank you, devotees.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so
Hare
much
Krishna.
for reading.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Lately,
Thank you.
I like to hear. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Gandharvika Mataji, for giving the opportunity. Thank you, Shraddha
Thank
Ma.
you, Venugita Mataji. Krishna
Thank
chose you. And Shraddha.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavind Ashtakoti Vaishnavind ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, devotees, so with your permission, I will switch off the call, and we will wait to hear from Gandharvika Mataji tomorrow as to who's lined up to read. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of the evening. Hare Krishna.